Jamal Adams is no longer happy in New York, and all of a sudden it means something in Kansas City. Welcome back to RGR Football. This is a new one. This is a rumor that we're going to have to take apart because it's a little bit different than things that we've heard lately of some of the more outlandish kind of whimsical made up things like mythical trade of Jones to New England for Stephon Gilmore, which another DB makes a little bit of sense. Okay, fair enough. But that had no basis in reality whatsoever. This is something that has some legs, and it comes from Jamal Adams himself. If you're new to the channel, make sure you click that sub button, hit the bell notification so you know when something comes out. Like, sub, that is the name of the game. Leave your comment below as well. This is a unique situation because for the first time in what we've seen in this whole saga with Jamal Adams, and it has been a saga, that he's actually come out, and at this point, we know that he has asked to be traded. This is an active request to get him out of New York. And while that is a new twist, we probably could have seen that coming for a bit. They have done a couple of things that we're going to go over and what this might look like. But the interesting twist is what got out to Twitter through Adam Schefter. And that's exactly that there are specific teams that Jamal Adams wants to go to. And when you look at the list, it doesn't make any shocking developments. They are teams that are generally perceived as contenders or someplace that Jamal Adams might have some ties to. And the list goes like this: the Ravens, the Cowboys, the Texans, the Eagles, the 49ers, the Seahawks, and yes, the Kansas City Chiefs. Interesting list. We've heard quite a bit about what's gone on to this point, but let's run it down. Now, the center of this controversy between Adams and the Jets is the contract extension. Adams is currently still on his rookie contract, which says a lot for a player that has the accomplishments that he has. We'll look at that in a second. But the key is, right now, he's playing on the 4th year. Unlike Chris Jones, Jamal Adams was a first-round pick. So they have already, the New York Jets have exercised their option for his 5th year for 2021. That brings him in at $9.86 million for the 2021 season. A large jump from what is going to be $825 as his base salary in 2020. Now, there are cap numbers that go with the bonus structure, etc., that the Chiefs are going to have a better time dealing with because most of it's been paid out by the New York Jets. The difference is that Chris Jones obviously is on the franchise tag and his contract will be going up immediately. The difference, if these two players were traded today, is that there is an extra year before you have to do something with Jamal Adams. The question is, will he be interested in that? That makes things a little bit more difficult, but not undoable for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's why this rumor is actually somewhat of a possibility if they can work out the minutia and whether the Jets want to pay a defensive tackle rather than a safety. Now, when we look at the on-the-field treasure trove that Jamal Adams brings, it is up there with Chris Jones. I can't say that he's as good a player at this point, but in just 3 seasons, there is a list of accomplishments that is significant that are multiple Pro Bowls in 18 and 19, all rookie in 2017. Okay, that's great. We'll let that slide. That doesn't necessarily make you somebody that can demand a trade like this, but top 100 in 2019 and the big one, all pro in 2019 at the safety position, along with Tyrann Mathieu. Chris Jones, as we know, made the Pro Bowl in 2019. That was his first visit, but also a member of the 2019 Top 100. So there are some similarities there. I would say in terms of awards, Jamal Adams is a little bit ahead of the recognition portion, but that's not that all that goes into what comes for a player of this kind of trade value. In those 3 seasons, Jamal Adams has been forced to play more in terms of making tackles. He's out-tackled Chris Jones 2-1. That is a part of the nature of the position. He is not a guy that shies away from tackling and is very much an asset in multiple ways in the secondary, which brings me to why he might fit and be somebody the Chiefs might want to go after and that is specifically his versatility. We hear this all the time. It is a common word in the Chiefs organization. It is common just recently in the last couple of weeks for Steve Spagnuolo to talk about guys who are versatile. Now, I actually feel like Adams is probably a little bit better playing up in the box, something like we've seen Dan Sorensen do in 3 safety sets. That's not necessarily the only thing that he does. A little bit more in terms of snaps last year in the box at 400 than at free safety at 297. But that's not a vast difference. The interesting thing is, if you don't watch Jets film very much, when you pop on certain tapes, it really stands out just how much he goes in and plays slot corner for 130 reps last year. That is something that we often equate with Tyrann Mathieu, with Juan Thornhill. This is significant in that the skill set Jamal Adams has fits what Steve Spagnuolo wants to do. And that is a very, very interesting match when you think about what the future might bring. Now, in terms of accolades, you can always go back to what PFF has, their top safety in a number of different ways. Overall grade last year of 87.9 and a coverage grade of 87.3. That is well beyond anything that the Chiefs were able to put on the field. So in terms of coverage, even surpassing Tyrann Mathieu in terms of PFF's grades, whatever you want to put into how that works. The difference being is that both Juan Thornhill and Tyrann Mathieu were able to create more turnovers via interception than Jamal Adams has been. So there is that caveat that if you're looking specifically for playmakers to go with Mathieu, Thornhill, what I believe is going to be Snead in some way, shape, or form, that may be something that brings you up a little bit lacking. But in terms of coverage, overall ability, looking at the fact that Dan Sorensen is getting a year older, is his final year of his contract, that makes things interesting about possibly putting Jamal Adams onto this Chiefs team. The dollars and cents are going to have to come. The question is, does that get negotiated right away? Are the Chiefs in a position to look long-term at the safety position, knowing that they already have, were they to acquire Jamal Adams, this 5th-year option in place? Now, the franchise tag is much different. Chris Jones is going to play at a little over $16 million this year on the franchise tag. Were he a safety this season, I believe Denver's Justin Simmons got the tag at 11.4. So that is a significant difference in what the two positions go for in terms of the franchise tag itself. But the bigger obstacle may be, even if you know you have to pay one of these players either way, the bigger obstacle may be actually acquiring the player, because the interest is definitely going to be out there from not only the teams that Schefter listed as what Jamal Adams is interested in going to, but other teams as well. Now, if I'm the New York Jets, the first team that I'm calling is old Bill O'Brien down in Houston to see what kind of fleecing I can get done there. That is a bit more of a long shot, though, because of the trades that have already happened for that organization. I do feel like going home to Texas is something in Jamal Adams definitely wants, and I have to think that despite the draw of playing for a team like the Ravens with Earl Thomas and Marcus Peters on that roster, or playing for the 49ers who just came off a Super Bowl loss to the Chiefs, yes, there's plenty of opportunity there. The draw of Baltimore would be interesting. That would make a very strong team that much stronger. I'm not sure the Eagles are someplace that he's going to want to go, given the emphasis on offense there. It would be definitely a different era in Seattle should he choose, or should he get traded there. I think really the big obstacle here is the Dallas Cowboys, who have not spent a lot of money on their safety position, who do have room to accommodate not just a player, but likely a contract at that level. If they can get this Dak deal done, there is a lot on the table for the Cowboys in terms of contract extensions right now that may cause a complication in the overall process of getting this done. So what it comes down to for the Kansas City Chiefs is, philosophically, are you ready? Would you rather emphasize the coverage aspect by putting an all-pro safety back there with Tyrann Mathieu, already an all-pro safety, and bring Juan Thornhill along? For a team that wants to run 3 safety, that may be very, very intriguing. And the question still comes back to, how much are they willing to pay Chris Jones? Yes, they want Chris Jones. It's the number. Do they feel that they can eventually get a long-term deal done with Chris Jones in order to keep him? Or do they feel that at that level, paying for defensive line is not something philosophically that they want to do, knowing that you're already paying Frank Clark that level, if not a touch more? So it becomes, do you want to put another 11, 13, 14 into another safety position to play at the back of the defense, emphasizing coverage over pass rush, as we've heard the debate for the last, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months? That is what the question becomes, because there is a road to see the Chiefs and the Jets working something out for two players that they feel that they've come to an impasse with in terms of reaching a deal. And the other team may have a fresh scenery, a fresh perspective, and more inclination to actually sign long-term the other player. This is a long shot. Don't get me wrong. This is not something that I am going to say I think is going to happen. But for the first time this offseason, this is a rumor that isn't crazy, that could work, especially given where the Chiefs are currently in cap space and in their stance about paying Chris Jones long-term, and knowing that you have the Mahomes contract coming. This is a very interesting pairing. Tyrann Mathieu is the leader and will be for the next few years. Patrick Mahomes is not going to finish his career with Tyrann Mathieu. Jamal Adams could be a guy coming out of the same draft class that they could ride their entire careers with. That would be a very interesting pairing and something that I think the Chiefs might be exploring. If it gets done, it gets done. I can't say that it will, but definitely worth the exploration about trying to get players to places that will pay them and trying to make them fit into a new scheme. I think it's worth exploring. I hope that they do, and we'll have to see if it comes down. Let me know what you think. Does this happen for the Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Jets? Do you think that Jamal Adams can get to Kansas City, or that he does? Leave your comments below. Make sure you click the sub and like buttons. Do those. Thanks for checking this one out, and we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more, and subscribe to RGR Football.